Welcome back to ScarletSprites, and I thought I was going to be doing a Gauntlet video today, and I'm still going to. I still think it's worth talking about Gauntlet, Legends, and Dark Legacy a little bit. But I got two packages in the mail today for something else I was working on, and I'm kind of a little excited about it. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that today. And so today's video revolves around my Smash TV arcade cabinet. This has been one of those things where I keep looking at it and just finding things I want to improve, not the least of which is the glass, or the plexiglass I should say. I have never gotten used to the cameras and how they obscure the screen. I didn't like it when I first put this on. I mean, I like how it looks, but just overall functionality, it's not great. And I think later this summer, I'm probably just going to order a regular piece of glass for this. But that's not what we're talking about today. When you have a cabinet like Smash TV, you want to make the most of it because it's a specialized setup. It's a twin stick shooter. There's not a whole lot you can do with the cabinet outside of playing twin stick shooters on it. So that's why I went out and found the Total Carnage board, popped that inside, and then I got the RiddledTV two-way switcher, so you can switch back and forth between playing Smash TV or Total Carnage. And you think that would be enough for most people, but Robotron has always been on my mind. I love Robotron, and Smash TV is the spiritual successor to Robotron. So not having Robotron as kind of the alpha in this cabinet has always irked me just a little bit. I'm not real big on 80s arcade games from a collecting standpoint. I don't have many of them, and most of my play is done on the Mr. Cade for 80s arcade games. I do a lot of 90s collecting, Midway, Capcom, Taito, stuff like that. I think most of you guys know that. So one of the problems with Robotron is that it's not Jamma. So if you went out to find a Robotron board, you couldn't just hook this up the way I have Smash TV wired today, because Robotron, an original board, it's not Jamma. It's a little bit of a pain to finagle it. It can be done. But it wasn't really something that I was interested in taking on at this point, even though I really want it in the cabinet. So Nick Madsen replanted this seed in my head that, hey, there's the J-Rock out there. There's an FPGA-based Williams multi-board. So not software emulation, but it's a Williams multi that's all FPGA-based. And I started looking around. I'm like, okay, well, they're back in stock. I could get this. And it's Jamma, so it would be easy to swap into the Smash TV arcade cabinet. So yes, I have the Mr. Cade, and I could put that in here, but then it kind of isolates my Mr. Cade to just being in a Smash TV cabinet, and I have to go in and remove it and put it back in the Astro City. It's a whole thing. I want a dedicated setup for this, and I want it to be seamless. So this seems like a really good way to go. The board it's somewhat expensive, but if you look at original Robotron boards and what they sell for, from a collecting standpoint, maybe it's actually worth it to go that route. If you're an 80s collector, I'm not. I'm fine with the FPGA-based solution. And it solves that whole Jamma issue that I just talked about because the board's already Jamma. So now I can just put this inside of the Smash TV arcade cabinet alongside of Total Carnage, and I can have all three of these running seamlessly. Except the switcher that I put in there is only for two boards. So now I gotta buy another thing. So back to RiddledTV, and I wanna call attention to this too because I actually used, this is another video that I never got to, I used one of these types of switchers inside of the Area 51 Site 4 cabinet to turn that into a multi-light gun shooter, which maybe we'll talk about that or I'll show that at some other point. But his new switcher doesn't require Jamma extensions. They're just ribbon cable based, which is pretty cool. It saves a little bit on some of the hardware and wiring that you have to do. So he has a 4-way version of this. I don't need 6. I'm not going to wire up 6 different games in here. So now that I have this 4-way switcher, which I'm only realistically going to use 3 slots on, I can take out the original 2-way switcher and I can put in the 4-way switcher, hook Smash TV back up with Total Carnage and the new Williams multi J-Rock board. And that's it. That's really the video today, is me getting Robotron up and running seamlessly inside of the Smash TV arcade cabinet. So I did reference this as a Williams multi-board. So there are other games on here. I'll just go ahead and show a screenshot of what those are. Two versions of Robotron though. You got the original and then the tie-dye version. I think Bubbles is probably fine. That's just a stick. You could play that on this cabinet. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with this. You know, Eugene Jarvis had his hand in both of these games, so to not have the original alongside of Smash TV felt like a miss. Not to mention, you know, I always am trying to maximize the use of the cabinets that I have. So I thought this was important to show today, that I've got all three of these up and running inside of the Smash TV arcade cabinet, making good use of the machine. There seems to be a misconception amongst, you know, some groups of people where if you buy an arcade machine, that's it. You got that one game and you're stuck with it unless you put in a Pandora's box. And that's just not the case. That's not a reality. There's other ways to do this. I mean, you could go the Pandora's box route if you want to do software emulation. You have Mr. Cade, obviously, we talked about that. But there are other solutions like this FPGA Williams-based board that I have. And there's also organic original creations from the manufacturer where you were able to pick between different games to play in a system. I mean, you guys have played Neo Geo, right? Like you understand how that works, but there are other examples of that out there. And I think I might want to show those and talk about that a little bit to kind of get rid of that whole stigma that you're isolated to a single game when you buy an arcade machine, because it's just not true. So anyways, I thought this was cool. It's just a quick video to show you guys Robotron up and running, and I can lock the back door and switch between all three of these games now. And you know, it's a pretty cool experience. So thanks so much for watching today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.